Hello and welcome back to my channel. This video is sort of a travel guide itinerary for the south of France. I traveled here with my dad and we started off in Monaco. It's a stunning city, perfectly walkable and very picturesque. Also great if you're a fan of the Formula One. We were lucky enough to go 2 weeks after the race, so they were still taking down the pits and the grandstands. It looked really cool and kind of gave you an idea of what it would have been like during the race time. This is the famous Monte Carlo Casino, such a stunning and well cared for building. Some luxurious cars, of course. This is the main square outside the casino. Lots of shops, lots of restaurants, and also great for people watching and car watching as well. It was really cool. We were staying at the Fairmont Monte Carlo Hotel, right in front of the famous hairpin turn. It was really cool watching all the cars drive past. This was one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen. It was so perfect and just so incredible to witness while having our dinner. We visited the Monte Carlo Casino in the evening and it was a wonderful experience. I ended up profiting 150 euros, which was pretty awesome. One thing I will say is I was quite surprised at how small the casino was. There was not a lot of tables, not a lot of machines, and like one restaurant and one bar. But the beautiful and intricate interior made up for it. Monaco was a wonderful experience. We only stayed 2 nights and had 1 full day here, so I would probably recommend an extra night and an extra day if you have the time and the money. We rented a convertible Mini Cooper to do a road trip to Marseille. The scenery was so beautiful and so green. It was an awesome experience being in a convertible for the first time. Marseille is a beautiful coastal city with lots of restaurants and classic French architecture. It's famous for its soap, surprisingly, which was kind of random. I didn't know that until we got there, but great soap here. And this cathedral was so beautiful. You really felt the spiritual vibes with the sun coming through the windows. Some really beautiful stained glass windows as well. Marseille is a great city for walking around and exploring. It has some lovely views and some great restaurants. Another beautiful sunset here as well. We only stayed 1 night in Marseille, so we walked around the center and had some delicious food on the harbour. The next day we drove up to the Basilica, which I will say is a must-do if you're here. It's free and it has some stunning panoramic views of the city of Marseille. There's information panels all around the basilica pointing out different things in the city and also giving some of the basilica's history. It's a great 1 to 2 hour activity if you enjoy architecture, landscapes, and I guess religion. They also have a museum at the base of the basilica and a gift shop and restaurant. The interior is very maximalist and very awe-inspiring. It had a lot of nautical memorabilia actually, and so much gold. I loved it so much. We then drove to the national park, Calanques, just outside of the city. It was a very short and picturesque drive through lots of small villages. The road was all along the coast as well, so it was perfect for a convertible and some fresh air. There was a lovely little village just before the national park at the end of the road where the main road finishes. Some cafes, some restaurants, and some really nice locals. We did a super fun and easy hike, definitely worth it for the views. It was very low intensity, but you definitely needed some sturdy shoes and there was no shade at all. So if you're going in peak summer, definitely make sure you've got a hat and sun cream. The landscape was very unique and nothing like I'd ever seen before. It was absolutely wonderful. I was really surprised because it looked so much better in person than it did on the pictures on Google. It was very much a volcano and rocky type of vibe. You could see where the lava indents were from like a long time ago. It was really cool. Some of the rocks on the path were a bit slippery and there was a lot of wind this day and it was super strong, so keep that in mind if you give it a try. At the end of the trail was a family-owned restaurant and their private property behind it, which I think is used as a B&B or a hotel with private access to the beach. We stopped for a quick drink and some sunbathing. On the road again for a stop in Saint-Tropez. So many vineyards and luscious green fields. It was quite a surprise actually, but it was really lovely. At one point you could literally hear the birds chirping in the trees, even over the noise of the car. It was so cool. It was really, really awesome. Really nice to connect back with nature. We only stopped in Saint-Tropez for a drink and to put our feet in the water, and then we continued on to Nice. But you can see all the really fancy yachts in the distance. There was tons of those, like 4-story yachts, and they were just like parked in the bay. It was really cool. There was a lot of traffic on the way into Nice, but we drove in at like peak hour, so definitely try to get there a bit earlier and avoid the lineups. I will say that Nice is quite a nice city. We walked around the old town and found some lovely markets and colourful architecture. It's a great place to buy some souvenirs. They also had tons of olives and meats and flowers. It was a really beautiful market and completely run by locals as well. There were so many beautiful alleyways with lots of shops and restaurants. It was so easy to get lost in. The next day, I booked a snorkel tour. The weather was a bit grim, it was a bit cloudy, but still warm enough to swim. It was at Poseidon Plongée. It was very affordable and a great activity if you're interested in fish and you enjoy the sea. But even if you don't swim, it was pretty awesome just for the views. The boat ride was so much fun. It was a bit bumpy because of the weather, so probably skip this activity if you get easily motion sickness. The hosts of the activity were really kind, very entertaining and funny. They knew what they were talking about, and they gave suggestions of which parts you should swim to find the fish. The boat ride was so much fun, and we got some really unique views that you wouldn't otherwise see from land. There were so many beautiful plazas, lots of colorful architecture. We finished off our trip just by walking around the city and experiencing it until the very end. Please comment below what your favorite part of this travel guide was. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye!